Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Cultured Nerd Podcast. This time we're going to be talking about the DCU and how, before the first project is even hitting the ground, the DCU is already growing and its productions are moving quickly, and there's a lot of confidence behind the scenes that this is going to be a big sell because they are moving very quickly and growing very fast on a universe that we actually haven't seen yet. So we're going to talk about what is happening. Is this good? Is this bad? And everything in between.
Who made that AI picture of Supergirl, the actress in the costume?
So that picture of Supergirl is actually not AI. It was actually like a digital piece that was done that I saw, and I was like, holy crap, this is so damn cool. And let me see if I can find it because I was pretty blown away by it. It is by a Instagram artist by the name of Jackson Durr. And he did
Jackson,
this piece.
You're doing good work out there, good sir.
So good. Obviously, it's probably not what she's going to look like. We know that the symbol is a little bit different because of Comic-Con, and they did like the Superman lightning symbol for her.
Doesn't matter to me. She looks good in the S.
She looks good.
She's looking good.
Yeah, she looks good. And she's a great actress. I know a lot of people were like, oh, why is she Supergirl? Go watch House of the Dragon. She's a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
So she's got my vote. I was a little surprised by it, but I was like, oh, cool. Let's see it.
Yeah, she's like Hayden Panettiere if she was a good actress. Remember The Promise of Heroes, Taylor? Remember season 1 of Heroes? Remember?
I remember season 1 of Heroes being one of the best first seasons of a show I had ever seen. And then season 2,
save the world.
Let's just never watch. Like, I actually told my son, I'm like, when we sit down and watch Heroes, I'm going to show you the first season, and that's where we're going to stop because that ending was perfect.
It's wild how bad the rest of that show is.
Well, season 2 almost stuck the landing, but then the writer's strike of 2008 hit and then destroyed the show, and that show limped on like a wounded dog for 2 more seasons until they finally put it down.
Ugh, so sad.
Yeah, they were so close. So close.
So last time you showed me outdoor pictures of Superman filming outside, and we got to see some fun stuff.
You did get some fun stuff.
I've been watching Suicide Squad Ichikai, loving it.
But yeah, good, close enough.
What else is happening in DCU world?
So the DCU is moving forward at full steam ahead. There's nothing that is stopping them, slowing down. The momentum is going. And if you believe the rumors that are coming out from a lot of the scoopers and production notices, they're already ready to start their next few projects very quickly. So right now, we know that Creature Commandos as a show has already finished its production. They've got their tie-in comic covers that they're going to release, and they're going to be dropping the show later this year. Great. So we're seeing this animated project later this year. Right now, James Gunn actually dropped some fun news that he, for Superman, the reason why they filmed everything right now and it's not releasing for another year is, I think, and I quote, I want to give the VFX artists enough time to do their job correctly. To me, that was his biggest middle finger to everyone who is running comic book movies right now.
Which means that he shot. So all these movies that say they don't use CG, they're all lying. They do, but they use it smartly, if you will, which means he shot shots and then told the artists what he wants from them, which means they didn't pre-res these shots already, which what everyone else does. You know, the rumor is you don't really direct any of these Marvel movies. They show you what the action sequence is, and then you do everything in between and you sew it together.
So what I caught from that comment was that the failures of The Flash, the failures of Black Adam, the failures of like the last 5 MCU films where they change everything the last second and have the big crunches. James Gunn, he even said on Threads the other day that he's probably not going to have a lot of pickups to do because he planned everything so meticulously.
Because he knows what he wants. He's not being made by a committee where we have to vote on it and 6 out of the 10 guys don't like it, so now we got to change it up.
Yeah. So
he knows what he wants.
He knows exactly what he wants. He knows exactly what he's preparing. And because of that, we're not going to see this movie go back and get reshot. And that like The Flash, for instance.
Yes.
I liked the final product, The Flash. I enjoyed that movie. But people don't realize that movie was filmed. You can basically cut 3 or 4 different movies with all the stuff they filmed.
Wow.
Like there's so much dead footage for that film that you're just like, oh shit.
Does that footage ever see the light of day?
No, I don't think we will ever see that extra footage.
Wow.
Because that's just what happened. But aside from all of that, he made these comments. The internet took it for what it's will. I think people just don't like James Gunn for whatever reason. So they're just like, oh, he's being facetious. He's being James Gunn. How dare he take a shit on the people that are doing blah 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 blah, whatever reasons they don't like him. But regardless, by doing it this way, we know that the film is going to look pretty. And that was like it was with the other two, all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy films. They allowed him to have his time with it, and they looked good.
Yeah, and they all have really great action set pieces. The one that comes to mind right now is the one from the 3rd movie. Just because it's a great big hallway fight scene. Ever since Old Boy, I've loved me a hallway fight scene. That one is no exception. He's also setting up the artists to make them feel proud of their work.
Yeah.
That they're going to be able to turn something in that they can then put their stamp of approval and say, this is us working at our best for what we want the project to look like.
And I think that is the biggest thing that, like, you can not like James Gunn for his personality or anything he is, but as a person who works and wants to make sure that his projects have that look and make sure that everyone who's involved is happy with the project, this is something that is very nice to see. So I'm very happy with just this, like it's sticking up for all the artists. That's such a cool thing.
Well, he also is having to redefine the look of this new universe. And like the look of this movie is going to be the way that the other movies look. The way that Aquaman kind of has some Zack Snyder stuff. It's not the same, but like that was what the world was set up into. And it was kind of based on that. So I think that's why taking his time that's amazing. So
it's very nice.
So with then all the work that's going to be done on Superman, where do you think he picks up next?
So we know that right now, along with doing the post and allowing the VFX artists to do their thing, he is currently working on Peacemaker. The only thing that we really know about the show is some of the shots that have come out that the show is a loose sequel. Like it's going to have some changes. It's going to the events of the first show is on paper. It's going to be there, but there are going to be some changes to the canon.
I was about to ask you. I remember the show. There's lots of funny stuff. Did they thwart the aliens? Did they win the day at the end of that season?
He saved the day. He insulted the Justice League and walked off.
Great. So great.
Certain scenes are not going to exist, obviously, but
we're going to see another universe version of all of this, correct?
Yes, that's going to have that same stuff is going to happen. Commander Waller is going to get outed, and the butterfly thing was a thing that happened. And that's really the only stuff, because from some of the set photos, it kind of implied that both his dad and his brother are still alive, which then both characters were dead in their first show.
What a fun twist if we get to then have more family dynamics.
Yeah. So very interesting changes to the canon, which I think is going to either it's going to help set it apart and be like, oh, by the way, so season 1 and season 2 are in different universes. It's going to be kind of like how with the Batman movies, right? The anthologies where you had like Batman Forever was clearly a different Gotham to Batman and Batman Returns, but they did make references to Selena Kyle and stuff like that. So you're like, okay, so similar, same, but different kind of.
I never questioned that shit once as a kid. Yeah. I just took it as it's Batman, and that's Batman, that's his Batman. That's Batman, that's Batman.
Yeah. So I'm just like,
the Spider-Man meme is 3 Spider-Mans going, who are you? And the Batman would just be 3 Batmans going, I'm Batman.
I don't care. Yeah, I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Good.
I'm
We're all
Batman.
Batman.
I'm Batman.
We do know that's coming up next is that Welcome to Derry is wrapping its production and it's going to start coming out later this year. And then apparently Andy Machetti's next project should be The Brave and the Bold. So we know that the Matt Reeves Batman is set to start filming January or February of this year. So he's probably going to be doing a lot of his pre-production for the next few months, getting the script together, getting everything that. Probably not going to see this thing start filming to the later half of next year. So we might get 2 Batman movies in 1 year in 2026, but they could be on polar ends of the year. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think that Matt Reeves gets a third in this trilogy, or do you think it really will depend on how the second one does?
I think it really depends on how the second one does, because the Penguin show is already getting very it's moving forward. It's getting everything it needs, and as long as the Penguin lands and then Batman Part 2 lands, then yeah, we'll get a concluding part to the trilogy.
Okay.
The only thing that we do know is that Matt Reeves wanted to make his universe separate. He was promised from the start that he was going to get a separate universe, but he wants a trilogy, and that's about it. So if we get any spin-offs, any side stories that are set in between those 3 parts, cool, but Part 3 will probably be the end of it no matter what.
Do you think they should just do No Man's Land? He already flooded the city. Like, don't you think that they should have the warring gangs?
That's kind of what's happening. That's what the Penguin show is about. It's No Man's Land / gang wars. So
Batman's got to get some teammates if he's going to go fight a war.
I think so.
Maybe.
I think so. He's got to pull a Jedi and just like steal some kids and make them.
I'll tell you this though: if he goes to quote unquote war, it's a really great excuse for him to upgrade all of his tech to military stuff. Because when I think about the cartoon Batmobile, that's like a military vehicle. It's so sleek.
Yeah, like it was. I don't know. I really see that. Like it would be fun to see the Batman Part 2, where you have Bruce Wayne step foot into Wayne Enterprises for the first time in years and be like, holy crap, we got so many cool toys I can take. And then just have like a sequence of Batman breaking into his company and stealing a bunch of stuff in the middle of the night. So he has plausible deniability that, yes, he is using Wayne Tech stuff, but he stole it.
He's got to get a boat at this point, right? He needs a bat boat. You got to have a boat.
His car and his motorcycle are virtually useless in a flooded city.
Okay.
So he needs a boat.
If you get a boat, don't you need a helicopter? Isn't that like if you give a mouse a cookie, don't you need a helicopter as well?
Some sort of hovercraft. Like you just need something like that.
Okay.
Right? But so we have that. But the big rumor that's coming through right now is that we have 2 projects that are going to start filming in January, right off the bat. We got the Lanterns HBO Max show, which we know is currently in casting phase right now. And then we've got Supergirl. Both of these shows are, one's a TV show, one's a movie. We know that they're both rumored to be filming in January.
Why is Supergirl holding a sword?
That's actually part of the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow story.
She has a sword?
Yeah, she goes out into the universe to find her place. And one planet she goes to, she doesn't really have her powers, and she picks up a sword and starts fighting people with a sword. So it's fantastic. So
it feels like the DC is really embracing swords. I feel like I don't know if they have or have not liked swords in the past, but I feel like a lot of swords are coming our way.
Which is ironic because the DC EU, the Snyderverse, Zack Snyder fully embraced Wonder Woman with a sword. And then Jeff Johns fully did not embrace Wonder Woman with a sword and took her sword away for 84.
I liked her sword. I think she was more interesting in sword combat.
Yeah, I agree. So
because it makes
the sword away was weird.
Because the sword makes her have to be precise.
Yeah. Because
she's not going to just kill people.
You would think so.
Well, Okay, so no swords. Lots of swords are coming back.
Again, what we saw from Zack Snyder's Justice League is that his heroes just kill people left and right.
Taylor, it's so funny that I don't think about DC until I get into it. Taylor, we've talked Superman. We've talked about Batman. Who's going to be the Wonder Woman? They got to show her off soon, right? We're going to see her soon.
All we know is that Wonder Woman, Flash, and Aquaman will be appearing in the DC universe. I don't know if they're just giving it a wide berth and allowing it to have its moment to breathe before they announce anything. But we know that it's all new casting.
Okay. So it's going to be a hot minute before we see any of that stuff.
I don't. Maybe next Comic-Con they might announce. By the way, here's the rest of our Justice League, but that's probably the closest we'll get.
Wow.
I don't even think it'd be that soon. I think they'll be like, here's our trailer for Superman. It's coming out next week. Guess what, guys?
So, is there any chance that we're waiting to announce those because we're waiting for actors to be out of contracts? Like, is there any chance that we're like almost like a football trade? They're waiting for maybe a Marvel person's contract to be up so that they can come be one of the big 6 over here.
I don't think that's going to be the case, to be honest. James Gunn has always been, he's been very candid that he does like to pick his actors. He's very much like Zack Snyder in the fact that he will reuse a lot of the same people for his projects. He uses Michael Rooker in everything. But, and Nathan Fillion in everything.
Do we know who he is yet? Do we know who Michael Rooker's playing in the new canon?
I don't know. But I would expect him to be on Peacemaker, if anything, because he was a member of the Suicide Squad.
He would have been a great Peacemaker's dad.
He would have, but I also really liked the Terminator.
Oh, I love that guy. And every time I see that guy, it's the guy from Terminator 2. Even when he popped up in Reacher.
Yeah. No, he's the robot. He's no one else.
He's a man robot. He kills you with knife hands.
Yep. Dun, 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 dun.
Huge tangent, Taylor. I watched True Lies for the first time.
How have you never seen this before? I could have sworn we watched this when we were younger.
It's a comedy. It's a silly movie. The ending of the movie is silly. It's all about a husband and a wife. It's a silly movie.
It's an amazing movie, but it is silly.
I didn't know how much I was going to like it, but it was fantastic.
I love that movie. True Lies is one of my James Cameron favorites. Like I will fight people and they're like, "Oh, True Lies is one of his weak ones." I'm like, "You go shut your whore mouth."
Listen, it's a main budget cuck movie. It's got crazy cuckold stuff in it. It's a crazy movie.
It's a funny movie. I love it to pieces, but it is weird. Everything with I love the Harrier jet scenes. Like those are just fun. But no, it is a weird movie.
It's wild that we never got another proper sequel with that cast, but I'll tell you this, it didn't make me want to watch that TV show. This was a huge tangent brought to you by Amazon Prime. Taylor, what else is going on with DCU?
So we also know that coming up is that after they finish Peacemaker, they're going to start working on the Waller show.
Yeah.
And the Waller show, this was part of I would like to say the trifecta of James Gunn properties that were bought, paid for, and contracted before they decided to reboot. So there was 3 projects that James Gunn had lined up, had contracted, had actors signed up for, had paid people, had got things ready to go, scripts approved, and then they decided to reboot. So he basically was like, we can either waste all of this money and pay out these contracts and spend more money, or we can just rewrite certain aspects of them and just fold them into the new universe. So this is one of those projects. So all we know is that this project of Waller, she is on the run because of the events of her getting outed as the Grand Master of the Task Force X and this government operative who just kills people willy-nilly. We know that she's been outed, and Argus and Checkmate are hunting her. So there's a good chance that we'll see something cool like Deathstroke working for Argus and hunting her down. So
very cool.
That's about all we know of the show. And then lastly, there's been some rumblings of casting for Booster Gold. Booster Gold, unfortunately, just recently lost its showrunner and writing crew because we knew that the project was going to be written by Danny McBride and a few other really talented people. But apparently just yesterday over the weekend, the project, they all stepped away from it. So it's fully possible that this project does re-exist and keeps getting moved forward. But the only thing that we know is that this actor apparently might be Booster Gold. Kumali Nanjiani. I always say his name wrong.
Yeah, that's close enough.
That's
the guy from Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Yeah, and the Eternals and a bunch of other things. He was rumored to be playing Booster Gold. And then over the last few weeks, we've seen people from Peter Safran's wife to randomly liking comments saying, I can't wait to see him as Booster Gold, and they like it. And then there was a shot of the Olympics where he was hanging out with the Superman cast watching the Olympics with them. So people are like, why is he so chummy with DC? It's possible that he said, screw you, Marvel, the Eternals sucked, I'm out, I'm going to DC. And
well, they didn't do anything with the Eternals.
Yeah,
you know
especially now that they announced that the Eternals is being shelved completely.
Completely?
Any follow-up plan is now dead.
Wow. Oh boy, they spent a lot of money on that movie.
And they just let it die like it was nothing.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll tell you this. I can see him doing a lot with that character. And that character is pretty meaty, and he can do serious and comedy. So I would love to give him that canon.
What is so interesting to me is that, like I said before, this is a lot of projects moving forward with just the promise that these things will be good. You know, it's such a unique thing where you see.
But this is why they brought him in. He is the captain of the ship, and he's watching all of his ships go out. And there's things he's gonna not micromanage. He's going to guide some of this stuff, but like these things can happen without him.
What to me, it reminds me a lot of when Marvel initiated its Phase 1. The moment that they made Iron Man, they were like, all steams ahead. We're going to do Hulk. We're going to do Thor. We're going to do Captain America, and we're going to do the Avengers. And they just announced everything all at once. And yeah, the movies didn't quite do great right after that. I think a lot of people forget that Marvel Phase 1 was not the blockbuster juggernaut that Marvel is today.
But all those movies were also pretty good.
They were all really good. I actually prefer Phase 1 of Marvel Phase 1 and Phase 2 to pretty much a majority of what they did in a lot of things.
The Edward Norton Hulk movie is really good. I liked it a lot more than watching, because Taylor and I saw all these movies. We saw the Eric Bana one. We knew it wasn't as good.
But I mean, with that, it's very interesting that it feels like Marvel style confidence, where they're going into this and they're like, we have a good thing. We got a good plan. People are going to jump aboard, but it's also a firm mix between TV and film. Like we have Creature Commandos, we got Waller, we got Peacemaker, we got Lanterns, all coming in as HBO properties. And these are all tied to the bigger universe. So they're going in guns a-blazing, knowing that they're going to make something right off the bat. And then you've got, like, before Superman is even received, you've got its spinoff getting ready to start filming. Like, that level of confidence you haven't seen in Hollywood in a very long time.
Now, do you think it's dangerous? Do you think that there could be? Do you think if any of these initial projects don't do well, that it hinders all of this other stuff?
It is fully possible that it could be a dangerous gamble, but at the same time, I do like to say that this is what makes this interesting is that behind the scenes, the Hollywood buzz behind Superman was unreal. Everyone who had access to the script and was privy to the script, and like, you did not see another film that had so much hype between agents, and like, it was unreal how excited people were getting about this project. Like, people don't even get this excited about Marvel projects.
No.
Like, it was interesting that even when they made Man of Steel, people weren't as excited. But here we are, and people were like, you have to get on this project. You have to get in this movie. You have to do this. There was like,
well, I think the fact that he's going to let people jump from medium to medium, that the TV cast is going to be in the movies.
Yeah,
and not a promise like, oh, if Echo does good, she ain't showing up now. So the fact that I will have the continuities with these characters, that's a big deal.
Like, we already know one jump right off the bat is that we saw Rick Flag Sr. from Creature Commandos in the Superman set photos. Like, we know it's already happening. So he is building that connective tissue right off the bat. And from my understanding, he even said that they spent months planning out the greater world before they even started filming anything. So they planned that Metropolis is in Delaware. And that means that Gotham is probably in New Jersey, and they've mapped out the location of every city.
I was about to say, I bet they have done I bet they know where Amazonia is. They know where Atlantis is. They know where Tokyo is. They know where... Is Tokyo a fictional city in the DC universe?
I feel like they have to have some fake Japanese city in
yeah, okay.
They've got to have something, but Tokyo is still Tokyo.
Okay.
But it's such an interesting thing that they put so much work right off the bat into this universe. Before they even started rolling, they did their homework. It's not like it was with Marvel. How I always give crap to Marvel was that, the MCU had to retcon itself a lot.
Yeah.
Basically be like, oh, by the way, this was also this. By the way, like, if James Gunn saw that struggle of how Marvel did things and is saying, how about we just do this work now and plan it out, leave the things open that we need to leave open, it's not going to be like it was in BVS where you have a montage that introduces a bunch of characters. You're going to have a natural, organic fluidity to how these things work because this is a very lived-in universe.
And it also means that Creature Commandos is going to be a must-watch. That the things that get set up in that show are going to show up other places.
Possibly, or it could just be a one-off show that gets referenced once and is just there. The thing about James Gunn is that he understands very much how comics are. And
right.
Comics are, these are all part of a big living world. So they can reference each other or they don't have to because what happens to me on a Tuesday morning has no impact on what happens to you on a Thursday because we're in two very different places. But that's how the DC universe is. You can have Superman doing his thing and then people will be like in California have no idea he's even doing anything in Metropolis because they're dealing with the Flash or
it's called Star City, Taylor. That's where it would be in California. Or no, what is the Flash's city?
Flash is in Central City, but I'm talking about you were thinking more so like Coast City for California.
Thank you, Coast City. Thank you.
Yeah, but no, it's a very interesting thing that they can kind of do what they want here.
Yeah,
and I'm kind of excited about that. You know, like if they did their homework right, if they've done all the planning. And they allowed a comic book nerd to sit down and build a world before they even started filming anything, we may have a chance at something really cool here. Because Marvel, for all of its pros and all of its like 10 to 15-year reign of the cinemas, they've had to retcon everything they do because they didn't plan properly from the start. So, fingers crossed, DC might have a very nice heyday very soon.
Fingers crossed, good sir.
But on that note, we want to thank everyone who does show up and does participate in all of our shows. Head over to the patreon.com/theculturenerd if you do want to help us keep the lights on and keep the show going. Any little bit helps. You can join as a minute budget investor or just you can support it in any capacity. Or if you don't want to put any sort of financial backing to what we do, head over to our socials, head over to this main channel, like, comment, subscribe, keep the lifeblood of this show going just by being present. And a big thank you for everyone who joined us. I've been your host, Taylor Murphy, my co-host, Michael Santel. We are here with you every week, with the exception of last week because I was on vacation with my family. So we are here relatively every week. And with that, we do say that for this week's question, what do you want to see out of the DC universe? With them hitting the ground running, there's a lot of movement very quickly. Do you want a Nightwing project? Do you want a Bat Family project? Do you want Plastic Man, Dead Man? You name it, the sky's the limit because probably each of these things will probably exist within the next 5 to 10 years. So tell me what you want in the comments of what you want this DC universe to look like and what is your idea of what the DC universe could be. But as again, I'm your host, Taylor Murphy. Thank you for joining us and we'll see you next time.